Ladies and gentlemen, the players are ready. Let's welcome first out of the tunnel from Russia, the number 7 seed, Mikhail Youzhny. And from Spain, 10 times major champion, Rafael Nadal.
Welcome back. A couple of quarterfinals already completed here at the 2012 Qatar ExxonMobil Open here at the Khalifa International Tennis and Squash Complex in Doha. Just gone 7 o'clock local time in the evening here. It's Guy McCree now in the commentary box. Barry Cowan still here. Glad to have you with us. Jason Goodall's gone to have a break after that win a few moments ago. 15 minutes ago for Roger Federer over Andrea Seppi. Seppi taking his first set in 17 attempts against Federer, but in the end, the defending champion coming through. Earlier on to where already Jo-Wilfried Tsonga booking his place. Straight sets winner over Albert Ramos of Spain. So the second and third seeds in this event are through safely to the semi-finals. Can the top seed join them? Rafael Nadal out on court. He brought his trolley case out here again. We now know a little bit more about the contents inside that trolley case.
Rafa, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Really here now to conduct the coin toss.
Questions? Misha, let's test. That's it. He serves. Good match, gentlemen.
Coin toss complete then. It is confirmation then. The top seed Rafael Nadal still hunting his first title here in Doha. Finalist in 2010. Up against the 7th seeded Mikhail Youzhny, a former top 10 player. On his day, Barry Cowan can give the world's best, and Rafa certainly is that. Can give the world's best players some real problems.
Well, Youzhny is one of those players. He is very, very dangerous. One of the best timers of the tennis ball, one of the best players actually in practice from all accounts. And when he is feeling good, he has the ability to be able to beat the likes of Nadal, of course, which is what he's done in the past. He actually beat Nadal at this time 4 years ago, albeit in Chennai, and albeit the day after Nadal had that 4-hour epic. I think it was against Carlos Moya. But for Youzhny, he had a difficult year last year. But the fact that he's come through a couple of matches and now he has a crack at someone like Nadal often brings the best out of the Russian.
Absolutely. Nadal, well, two contrasting matches for him so far here this week. Really pushed in his opening round against Philipp Kohlschreiber of Germany, just over 2.5 hours. Much more straightforward against his fellow lefty, the German qualifier, Dennis Gremmelmeier, 1.5 hour straight sets. Well, what can you add really to these statistics? I mean, he's already one of the game's great players. We know these already, but as I say, still hunting this first title here in Doha at the Qatar ExxonMobil Open. Semi-final last year, final the year before. It's a good record here, but I'm sure we'll want to add this title to his burgeoning trophy cabinet. Confirmation of his run through the tournament so far there. The wins over, contrasting wins over Kohlschreiber and Gremmelmeier.
Yeah, that win against Kohlschreiber was good performance from Rafa. There was a little bit of dip emotionally at the beginning of the second set, but I think overall, be delighted with the way he played, as he would have been yesterday. But of course, this is a step up. Nadal has to play a good match. Otherwise, if he doesn't, he can lose, because, as I mentioned, Youzhny possesses so much in his game. He has a wonderful single-hander, takes the ball early, but he is up and down it mentally. And when things start to go against him, will he then panic, which has been the case in the past?
Yeah, we saw a bit more of that in 2011. It wasn't a bad season for him. 4 semi-final appearances, but no title for the first time since 2006, I believe. No ATP World Tour titles and the singles front for Youzhny. Say not a bad season, but ranked down at 35. Former top 10 player. It's been as high as 8 in the world. Those concentration lapses you talk about, Barry, really evident last year. There are a lot of matches, 3rd, 4th rounders, where I even remember the match at Wimbledon where he was in the match with Roger Federer. He didn't push him to 5. But it was an opportunity. Federer didn't play that amazingly well that day. Took a set off Federer, but didn't get any closer. There's this run through. Good win over Ernest Gulbis, and another one over Ivo Karlovic. He served 20 aces against Youzhny in that one and still lost out to the Russian.
I think the problem with Youzhny in the past is there's no grey in his game. No, he's hot or cold.
2 minutes.
But to come through those 2 matches, and especially that Karlovic match, you know, that you have to concentrate to come through the tall Croat.
Yeah, we mentioned it yesterday. Really, opportunities at a premium when you're playing Karlovic. Nadal and Youzhny have got plenty of history. Met 12 previous times. Nadal has a healthy head-to-head advantage, but let's break it down a little bit more here. 8-4. But on hard courts, there's nothing, very little to choose between them. 4 apiece.
Yeah, they've had some big matches in the slams as well.
A couple of US Open matches, strike in the memory, 1 apiece there on that front.
And also at Wimbledon, 5-set 5 years ago.
Players being introduced to the crowd by Robbie Koenig, our master of ceremonies here.
1 minute.
So pleased, of course, to have Robbie courtside for many of our matches. Cedric Mourier in the chair for this one.
The umpire's chair is 25-year-old Rafael Nadal, who first achieved the world #1 ranking back in 2008. He has 46 career singles titles. Amongst those 46 opens are...
Uncle Tony, as we've mentioned, we've covered all of Rafa's matches so far this week. Uncle Tony not here, however Francisco Roig is, and just as important a part of the Nadal setup.
Well, he was practicing earlier, Rafa, at around about 2 o'clock Doha time, and working hard.
Yeah. That's the reception as he's introduced to the crowd.
He was working hard on that serve.
Youzhny, as we've been saying, very experienced, won't be overawed by the challenge of facing Nadal. Has had success in the past, as we pointed out.
I think Guy, we look at the recent meetings, and they've actually only played twice in the last 4 years, and those both times that they played, Wimbledon and the US Open, Rafa won in straight sets. And I think most people would agree that Rafa has become an even better player the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think of 2006 US Open where Youzhny wins, I mean, Nadal is just, on that surface on hard court, just not the same player as he then went on to be. Nothing to take away from the win for Youzhny, but it's a good point you make, Barry.
I think it's a really good test of where Rafa's at. I think he would like the challenge. He'll look forward to it, to see where he is at the start of this new season.
Because Kohlschreiber gave him some tests, and Kohlschreiber's a top 50 player. Youzhny is as well. Youzhny's been better than that, but at the moment, 35 in the world. It's a good test for Rafa. I'm sure he'll see it that way, at the very least. There is our third quarterfinal of the day there, in black and white for you, and a bit of green and those other colours as well. Nadal against Youzhny. Already 2 men through to the semi-finals. The third seed and the second seed. Can the top seed join them? Good buzz around here as well, Barry, for this one. I'm not saying there wasn't during the Federer match, but it seems to have even gone up a notch. Big anticipation.
That's a great crowd. I always expect great things when Rafa's on the court.
Mikhail Youzhny to serve.
Youzhny won the toss, and he's chosen to serve first here.
Love 15.
Thought about a challenge there for a moment.
Yeah, Rafa's talked a lot in the, not just this year, but also at the end of last year, about being more aggressive, trying to play further up the court. And again, this is another good test against someone like Youzhny, who does take the ball very early. You know, can Rafa try and put into a match situation what he's been talking about?
Rafa had him exactly where he wanted him there.
Love 30.
Well, just like Federer, out of the starting blocks fast.
Kind of expect it, don't you? Comes as no surprise. Nadal immediately threatening the Youzhny serve.
Yeah, that's a shot I don't really feel Rafa needed to go for down the line. Especially first game, love 30. You know, go back down the middle or back cross court.
That is literally too hot for Youzhny to handle. He was there, but there was just too much on it, really.
Yeah, it was a really good pass, but he slightly hesitated on the approach, and any time you hesitate against this great player, he will find you out.
Nadal has that look, that intensity about him that we all know really too well. Double break point immediately. There's what you talked about earlier on, the marquee shot of Youzhny. Joy to behold that side, particularly for the Russian.
40.
Yeah, you have to have this shot in your locker if you are to worry Nadal. He uses such a powerful racket, the Russian.
Nadal will be a bit disappointed with that, as opposed to the previous break point where Youzhny very much saved it. There, Nadal had his chance.
expect some long baseline duels.
Advantage you.
Brilliantly done. First ace. That's a good effort from the Russian. Looked in trouble. 2 break points saved, though. And he does hold serve first up.
That'll do his confidence the power of good. He never liked to be behind the 8 ball early on. It's nice to come through and save a couple of break points, and especially the way he also hit the ball, Youzhny.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, Barry. There's nothing worse than starting a match badly, especially given how convincingly he's been beaten the last 2 times they've met. And of course, if you do start a match badly, straight away it starts to play on your mind, doesn't it?
Nadal to serve for the first time in this quarterfinal. Breakpoint chances he couldn't take. Serving now at love 1.
Robbie, how high would you put Youzhny in terms of ball striking in the men's game?
Oh, it is so clean. In fact, when it comes to single-handed backhands, I played Mikhail a few times in doubles. I don't think anybody hits a single-handed backhand as hard as him. Of that, I am pretty sure. He hits it clean, flat. You know, his ball seems so heavy, Barry.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I always remember. Not only watching him, but also when I had the chance to play against him.
30 love.
Especially on the backhand side, it's almost like he keeps the ball on the strings so long, hits through it so well. And of course, that's the perfect way to generate pace.
No, I suppose the point that Robbie's getting at, you discussed the backhand, I mean, it's a hybrid, that shot, looking at it, because, I mean, he keeps it, it almost looks until the last moment like it's a double-handed backhand, but in fact, it's one of the sweetest single-handed strikes out there. Yeah,
at times, Guy, you're right, it is unorthodox, but he's actually hitting it more the conventional way now than he certainly did 5-6 years ago. He's got good hands as well, Youzhny.
40-50.
So he can neutralize some of Nadal's better shots, use the slice. I really enjoy watching him play.
Oh, yeah! Wonderful! Nadal holds for the first time.
Well, that's genius. Great slice from Youzhny, but this is something else. Improvises really well, does Nadal. Huh. The Schalke team, no doubt impressed with that. Nadal won the point, but I would have liked to see him in his second shot go back to the Youzhny forehand. You know, they're the type of little things that start adding to his game. Try and, when the point's there to finish in 2 shots, do it.
So sweetly timed.
Love 30.
Raul, Rafael's countryman, star player of Schalke 04. Champions League regulars. He's the top goal scorer in the history of Champions League football, I believe. Is that correct?
You know you're big time when you've only got one name.
Robbie, I'll tell you, there'll be some fans in England who will dispute that. Not all of them have been great in England, trust me.
I'm thinking Man United plays Cleverson for some reason comes to mind. There are many. The rest of the team, you might forget that with Raul there. True footballing royalty he is, but yeah, they're a very successful outfit. Regular Champions League participants. German side enjoying the tennis here.
It's a complete player, Youzhny. He knows what to do at the net. There's a real sense of belief early on. And as Robbie mentioned, actually, the change of ends, it was important that he held on to that first service game. But he knows if he gets down the line and be level with Nadal, he can win. That counts for a lot.
Plenty to get your teeth into here. Not a meaty rally. And he enjoyed that, the Spanish legend, as he looks on another.
When he was at Real Madrid, Raul, he went to watch that tournament in Madrid quite a few times, as did the other Real Madrid players. It's a stunning quality.
Overruled there by Cedric Murier. Very decisive. Players utterly respect him. One of the most experienced chair umpires out there. but he gets it wrong. Key moment that could be. Nadal with the break point now.
Net for serve.
It's a shame, because even by Rafa's standards, that court coverage was pretty special.
Well, it's got the potential to be the best match of the week.
Particularly the way Youzhny has started. If you look at him, Rafa played well in his second round match, but Youzhny is stepping up here and showing what he's about, bringing all that experience, not overawed at all at the prospect here that he faces. Good level from both early on. Wide that one.
Advantage, Youzhny.
You know, I think one of the greatest compliments you can pay a player
Youzhny.
is that he's maximized his talent. And every time I watch Youzhny take to the court, that's what I see, guys.
Thoughts there of Robbie Koenig. Youzhny holds serve and leads 2-1 first set.
Yeah, I think we can look at a lot of tennis, and Barry, we've been involved in the game for a long time, and there's nothing more common, I think, in our sport than wasted talent. And that's why I love it when guys like Youzhny come along and they don't have any major weapons. But, you know, this is a guy who's played some incredible tennis over the course of his career. And with what he's got, not only has he maximized his ability, but I think he's exceeded perhaps expectation. Would you go along with that?
He got to career high 8, didn't he? And I think really what he suffered from is when he's had that great period and he's got his ranking up there, maybe his expectations have got ahead of himself. But now that he's sort of on a comeback, you know, he's got no points to defend, really, because he's 35 in the world. So he can start playing with a bit of freedom. So the first 3 or 4 months of the year, he could be dangerous.
Time.
Nadal, the only one of the pair to have created break points so far. Usually his opening service game, but no breaks. That's the most important thing, of course.
Sit quickly, please.
Promising opening to this one. Can the standard be maintained? Nadal, 1-2.
I like that move from Nadal. 15 to come forward. There's a real intensity about this match from both men.
Funny love.
Lets Nadal back in, and the Spaniard really doesn't need any invitations like that.
Well, he worked the opening beautifully with the flat hit, and Robbie, is there much difference between the flatter hit of Youzhny and the way Rafa's hitting it in terms of net clearance?
I was just about to talk about that. It's the contrast in styles is wonderful to see. Nadal's got a nice big arc, plays with plenty of margin. Plays the percentages so well. That's why he's been so consistent throughout the course of his career. But of course, Mikhail hits the ball a lot flatter. Gets the ball through the court really well. So when he is playing well, it's very difficult to guard against.
That was a flatter hit, though, wasn't it?
That was a flatter hit from Nadal on that occasion. But just to finish off my point, obviously when Youzhny's not timing the ball as well, when you don't have a lot of margin, when you don't have a lot of spin, that's when you make a lot of unforced errors. And players who hit the ball flat like that can often tend to have up and down seasons, up and down weeks, because when they're hitting the ball well, they're great. When they're a little off, it's exposed.
89 centimetres clearance for Nadal, 53 for Youzhny, so illustrating what Robbie was saying.
Absolutely perfectly. If any of you wondered why we have Robbie Koenig courtside there, these last few moments just proved to you why we do it.
Did Robbie get those distances?
No. Pinches it.
Well, a great tactical play. It was a good approach from Youzhny going down the middle. Good volley. And Rafa, smart as ever. Always the ability to put the ball in a difficult position.
He made it.
The right baseline.
Whizzed by. I mean, that's the baseline directly beneath our commentary position. There's a challenge coming. He just shot through so quickly.
Court stands. Love 13. Mikhail Youzhny has 2 challenges remaining. Next second serve. Love 14.
Right idea to come in, but for once the execution lacking in a big way from Youzhny.
Yeah, again, interesting exchanges, Guy, and the right shot would have been the drop volley, but of course he got hurt at the beginning of the game, so he had that at the back of his mind. You just have to try and sometimes accept, okay, mate, I hit the right shot, but I didn't win the point, but next time you come in, keep doing the same things.
Triple break point. Breaks down Youzhny, and he is broken. Nadal strikes first in what's been a very entertaining opening. Still, the top seed, though, has the initiative. 3-2 the lead.
I'll be delighted, Rafa, if the way he started this match on serve, but also the fact that he's got that break, and it was all about the retrieving skills of Nadal. This is the second point of the game. This gave him love 30, and usually comes in on a good approach, and I think he was probably looking for the cross-court pass. How many times have we seen that from Nadal, but not for the first time. Rafa has the answers.
And Barry, I guess when you lose a point like this, you can't be too upset with yourself if you're Youzhny, because you've made Nadal hit the toughest pass, the one up the line of the highest part of the net. There's very little margin to work with. So easy to miss that wide, and sometimes you've got to say too good.
But do you think that Youzhny's thinking that at the change of ends, Robbie?
Time.
Robbie, do you still think that Youzhny would think that at the change of ends, or that was too good from Rafa?
Seem to have lost Robbie Koenig at the moment. An endeavour to get him back for you. He's got many demands on his time, Robbie Koenig. Privileged to get him for the time that we do. Nadal with the break now. 3-2 opening set.
Love 15.
Mentioning the Schalke 04 team, wearing their whole kit. They're also wearing earpieces as well, listening to our commentary. Klaas-Jan Huntelaar amongst them.
Well, you know what, I'd like to ask him, but I better not.
Is he joining your team Liverpool in the January transfer window? That's my guess.
I need someone who can put the ball on the back of the net.
Been linked with a move, hasn't he, Klaas-Jan Huntelaar?
Well, I hope he doesn't take that earpiece off and throw it on the ground, guys.
Some exchange, and it's a shame that it had to end that way.
But it's been 28 minutes of high-octane tennis.
15-30.
I think he can keep this going, Youzhny. I think it's been a good effort to bounce back at the beginning of this last game after losing serve.
It's just one of many lengthy exchanges that we've had so far. Ooh. Yeah, it's just missed out, hasn't it, that one?
Left inside and ball was called out.
It's challenging it.
What do we reckon, Guy?
I put my head on the block there.
I think this might have caught a piece of the line.
With that wicked Rafa topspin. Brought it back in. Let's see. Oh, he has, you know. Wow.
30-all.
Now, Barry, Guy was always one of those guys in the juniors that you had to worry about the line calling from.
Was it just wide, mate, turn your back?
Netversen.
On the rare occasions, there's actually a bad shot selection there from Youzhny. He was looking to go down the line. Against the left-hander serve that's coming into you, that's not an advisable tactic.
Nadal wraps up that service game. Keeps hold of this break of serve. 4-2 the lead now.
Well, I think Youzhny's played great tennis. 30 minutes, they've played 37 points, and he's only hit 2 winners. 2 winners compared to 11 for Rafa. That really just shows how well Nadal's played. Certainly feels like he's hit more than 2, but I guess that also illustrates how well Nadal's moving.
Suggests, though, very quickly that I was saying yesterday, I mean, looking at a forced error as well, I think usually he's manufactured quite a few of those, which aren't showing up.
So impressive. Well, Robbie, you've been to this tournament the last few years. Is this as good as you've seen Nadal play here at this event?
Yeah, I'm not very good at casting my mind back. I'm over 40 now. Alzheimer's is starting to set in. But I tell you what, he is hitting it sweetly. What I am noticing particularly, Barry, is how well he's moving. And as you know, when guys move well, they generally play well. It's been a really good performance. The quality of the points, as you said, has been jaw-dropping early on.
It's always an interesting one, that, is it? Do you move better when you're more confident, or when you're moving well, do you gain confidence?
Well, I think a big part of movement is anticipation, and I think when you're confident, you're generally anticipating the ball a bit better, so there's definitely some credence to what you say there. But as I say, footwork's looking good. His movement around the ball is looking exceptionally sharp. Of course, it'll be a good question to ask at the tail end of the week if he's able to make it that far. Let's see how he stacks up against a really top-class player.
(40-15).
Youzhny Gets a game on the board there,
Nadal
another
is
one.
4 games to 3.
Nadal in charge of this high-quality opening set. The lead for the Spaniard, 4-3. You've been highly impressed so far, Barry, with this. I mean, it's kind of lived up. We suggested beforehand that you don't really know what you're going to get with Mikhail Youzhny. You know what you're going to get from Rafael Nadal when he comes on the court every time. We've said that many times this week already. But with Youzhny, you're not ever really sure. You know the quality he possesses, but equally he can completely blow out. But he has turned up in a big way tonight.
Yeah, as I said a couple of games ago, Guy, I think he started the year with no expectations. You know, he's further down the rankings than his talent really he should be. And he's won a couple of matches, tough matches against Gulbis and Karlovic. He's got a chance to play one of the world's best. So, you know.
Time.
Got to try and plot his way to get the break. Youzhny, Nadal serving with new balls.
Hasn't created a breakpoint chance as of yet, the Russian. A bit more pressure on the Nadal serve here. Nadal with the new balls to serve at 4-3.
Love 15.
Well, I've got Mark Woodford sitting next to me. He's been here all week doing some analysis. He's been our studio guest, of course, this week. Mark, you've seen all the top boys in action now, a couple of matches. What do you make of Rafa's performances so far this week?
Well, he certainly got a little better, you know, and that's the beauty of a tournament like this. You know, you start off a little rusty in the first round, get a little better with a win under your belt, and you know, he's going to have to be on form against Youzhny tonight, given the fact that he's lost four times to him on a similar surface.
We were just discussing what it takes to beat Nadal tactically, and I think Youzhny has that. That's why he has been effective against the Spaniard in the past.
I love the fact that Youzhny uses that backhand slice. You know, he can drop it short, just like we saw the other day with Chipola against Songa. It's actually one of the most underused shots in men's tennis these days. It used to be something that was around a lot when we played, but now everyone comes over the top, and I just have a feeling that's why Youzhny has had success, because he loves playing that backhand slice against him.
Certainly is an underrated shot, and of course Youzhny gets great purchase on his backhand slice. Certainly one of the better backhand slices out there. Oh, some vicious spin on that forehand, but Mark, the boys up in the booth want to know, how do you think Rafa would have been able to play with your racket? What kind of spin do you think he would have been able to generate with that big string pattern that you used to play with?
That's why I'm sitting here at courtside. I have one of those rackets that I'm going to try and swing in front of Rafa's face. Imagine the spin that he could hit with.
Yeah. Be pretty insane, wouldn't it, folks? You have to delve into the archives to see those Mark Woodford rackets.
All legal, mind you. I know that there's been a few questions about the legality of my racket, but it's all legal.
40 for him.
Very quick to his own defence there was Mark. It's always a telltale sign. Perhaps a little guilt creeping in there from the Aussie. Great to have him on board this week.
Youzhny just not get any more than a couple of points there off the Nadal serve. Skips away to his chair and is a game away from taking the opening set. No, interesting, Barry. I mean, thoughts of Mark Woodford. Let's get straight to that. I mean, big memories. I mean, for me, Wimbledon watching him, you know, with his slice backhand. We were talking, he was raving about Rafa's, but I mean, he had a very good shot in that respect himself.
Yeah, an excellent slice. Left-handed, of course, Mark. For Nadal, at the end of last year, he lost a couple of very comfortable sets. That set against Murray in Tokyo, 4 points he won, 6-love. He lost comfortably to Federer, and I think he'd be delighted so far. He's 12 out of 12 points won on first serve.
Doesn't quite get that one right.
I like it, though. Good intensity. Got the right idea. 14 winners. That's really encouraging that Nadal's hit in the 28 points he's won.
Flailing at thin air, Youzhny. That is just too good from the top seed.
Yeah, and that's why he can stand a little further in to return the serve. And he can adjust.
Arguably even better than the previous one. Rafa raising it again as he looks to get this set done in this game, perhaps.
That was a great end to the rally from Rafa, but I felt that the started to return far too passive, didn't do enough.
Barry Cam, pretty hard to please.
I'm sort of looking long-term, though. You know, would he have been allowed to hit that shot against Djokovic? 15, 30-second serve. You know, it's changing that mindset.
40 for him.
But you're probably right.
You've got a point. Nadal himself has made such a big point out of that. It is so much. Losing all those 6 matches, 6 finals to to Novak, as Rafa did. It's a big part of things for him in his mind.
Yeah.
Focus on this, though. Youzhny is playing him very tough indeed here, no doubt about that. Nadal will have the chance to serve for this opening set shortly at 5-4.
He's not going to go away, Youzhny. Done a lot of good things in this opening set. I think he's building momentum, so whatever happens in this opening set, if he can continue the way he's played in the second set, then whatever happens in the match, he can go positively down to Australia.
Interestingly, Youzhny, the 4 times he's beaten Nadal, he's always won the first set. And it's not just him against Nadal, against Rafa generally. That is a massive, I'm not exactly sure, I haven't got the exact statistics to hand on this front, but Rafa, when he wins the first set, overwhelmingly goes on to take the match. And it's so important that he tries to get back in it here.
Yeah, he's right up there with the very best, with the very greats of the game in terms of being able to, when they win the first set, convert it to win the match. Great front runner.
Time.
Youzhny has prolonged this opening set by successfully serving to stay in it. Now he has to try and break this man's serve for the first time. Hasn't created a break point as of yet. What can he do here? Nadal to serve for the opener. Would have been what he wanted.
Yeah, he was allowed to hit the drop shot with how far back Rafa was behind the baseline. Relentless from Rafa. The shot early in the rally might have been wide. And there be pleased, Francisco Roig. It's tough to call him assistant coach. But, certainly has a good relationship with Rafa when Uncle Tony's not here. Lost some rhythm on that serve in this game.
That is quite simply ridiculous.
Incredibly, that's his first winner from the back of the court. And what a way to bring up your first winner.
Got into this position a few times, Youzhny. Hasn't been able to go on and create a break point.
There's one of the very best overheads in the game, Rafa. Volley's aren't bad either.
High quality opening set this one's been for 49 minutes and counting. But maybe it's about to come to an end now. Nadal with the set point. Superb set of tennis.
Nadal.
And it's Nadal who rises to the challenge in that game and closes it out.
6 games
His
to 4.
compatriot Raul is happy. That young chap is as well, because his fellow Spaniard has taken it 6 games to 4. More information here. Oh, it's there now. So we had shirts there. Just shirts. Just lots of them.
Another new shirt.
I mean, it must be about... Look at that, how thick that is. Can't be just shirts. Anyway, minor compared to this, trivial compared to the first set statistics, Barry, which you'll take us through now.
A brilliant set of tennis. Set of the week, really. Youzhny played as well as he could play, and probably as well as he was allowed to play. Only hit 5 winners, but it doesn't really truly show how well he was hitting the ball from the back of the court. As for Nadal, well, he was sublime. About as well as he's played for the last few months, Rafa. Everything worked well. Had a healthy number of winners. And the first serve, points won, also very, very impressive. So can Nadal keep it going if he can? And he'll be very happy.
Look back at some of the key moments of that opening set. It really was good stuff.
Quickly, please. Players are
Let's
ready.
hope for more of the same. Good crowd in
Second
here.
set, thank you.
This one. Nadal, the top seeder, set to the good. It'll be Youzhny to begin set number 2. Illustrate the challenge facing Youzhny here, Barry. Nadal is now, well, counting the couple of matches this week, we're reliably told by a wonderful stats team, best in the business, 482.26 when winning the first set.
But from what we saw in the opening set, Guy, that If Rafa's level does drop a bit, Youzhny's playing well enough to take a foothold in this second set. Although that wasn't a particularly good sight to see, that type of shot. There was almost a... Oh, well, do I have to hit another one?
(40-15).
Super point from Youzhny. Good game. Body language is excellent from the Russian. Still believe he's in this. Holds in the opening game.
Well, I've got Mark Woodford sitting alongside me. He's part of our team this week. 17 majors to his credit, so this guy knows what it takes to play big matches, Mark. If you're watching Youzhny, he's played a good match. If you're his coach, you're thinking, not bad. But he's got to sustain this for another hour if he wants to have any chance of getting anything out of this match. What would you like to see him do differently, or would you like to see him just to try and do what he's doing just a little bit better?
Well, on the game that Nadal was serving for the first set, returning serve, and you know, he built up momentum, winning the first point, and he had a second serve return, and he didn't do anything with the return. He kind of just stood back. The point evolved, he lost it. At 15-all, the same thing. He had a second serve, missed a simple backhand. You know, I just, you know, my advice would be, you know, if you're trying to keep the point short, at least go for it. Try and do something. The longer the point goes on, that's playing into Nadal's hands. I think Youzhny is crafty enough to mix it up. Try and look to do some damage with the second serve. Maybe even, you know, go back to the old chip and charge.
And of course, Mark, Youzhny is one of the few guys who's got a single-handed backhand that's probably good enough to take on the rise, take a second serve on the rise, and give it a good old-fashioned smack.
Yeah, exactly. He's, you know, he's very capable, even doing it off the forehand, which is probably the weaker wing for Youzhny. But I just think it's worth, you know, the value could be worth a few more points if he is to actually stand in. And here's a case in point now. Youzhny's got a second serve, and he's standing, you know, in my mind, too far behind the baseline to really create damage with the return.
15-all.
Yeah, Robbie, there's always been much talk about the Rafa second serve. Maybe you could ask Mark. I mean, it is a hard second serve to attack because it has so much spin.
So Barry's question was that he feels there's been a lot of questions about the Rafa serve. That's got a lot of spin on, and it's probably a little tougher to attack than most of us think. Would you go along with that or not?
Yeah, it's a fair assessment, but you know, if you don't try and do something with it, he gets away even with those feeble second serves that can. We all hit, you know, some off-pace, not well-struck second serves, but when they're there, you've got to take them instead of, you know, letting him get away with, you know, feeling comfortable. You've got to pressure Rafa's second serve.
Yeah, I think it's about sending a message to the other side of the court, isn't it? Even if you do miss on that second serve return, if you hit it hard and long, you're sending a strong message to the other side that don't do it again. So even though you might lose the point, as Mark says, you're thinking long term.
Good stuff, guys, down there. Certainly good stuff from Mikhail Youzhny.
15-30.
Sort of moment that you like from Rafa there, commanding, stepping inside the court to pick that one off.
30.
Yeah, this shot's evolving for Rafa. This transition ball, definitely hitting it harder, definitely hitting it flatter, definitely hitting it earlier.
Oh, that is so good from Youzhny. And for the first time, the Russian has a chance to break serve here. Brilliant stuff.
30-40.
That's magic tennis. Now is not the time to take a step back if you're Mikhail Youzhny.
He just rises to the challenge. Brilliant again. The reaction to Max from Rafa as he saves the break point.
Well, if there was anyone doubted that Rafa could make improvements to his game, this point really does give encouragement to Rafa. Brilliant the way he holds his position on the baseline. And with it being a break point as well.
Advantage. Nadal. Yes. Advantage, Nadal.
First ace of the match, that for Rafa.
That's a big serve as well. 177 kilometers per hour out wide. That's a good speed for Rafa.
Another pretty meaty serve. Gets it done. Youzhny had his first break point in the match there. It didn't come through, and Rafa gets himself on the board in set number 2.
Very few points this evening, Guy, that Rafa's backed off.
And you'd see that as encouraging, because I mean, going back to an earlier point, you've been very critical. I mean, you are, because ultimately he's a wonderful player, and you want everyone to improve and get better. Really impressed all round with what you're seeing here this week.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm just looking at the, and Rafa's talked about it, he wants to get to number 1, so it's what does he need to do to get back to the top of the rankings? That's a different player to the one we saw at the end of last year. Shouldn't forget that for the first 8 or 9 months, it was only one player who had the better of Rafa. You know, if Djokovic wasn't around, we could have been talking about Nadal winning 3 majors.
Tremendous shot from Rafa. Heavily threatening the break now, the Spaniard.
Well, how does he do it?
14.
Sheer strength in the legs to hold that position.
Gets the break of serve and now has a real grip on this contest. It's high quality, but it's Rafa in charge of it in a big way now at a set and a break up.
Well, he had a half chance, didn't he, Youzhny? He played a great point when he had the break point, but Rafa came up with a good play. And then sort of built on that momentum. It wasn't as if Youzhny played a bad game. It was just, you know, Rafa really has been highly impressive.
It's the Schalke team that we've been referring to. Staying on, you can't blame them. It's a really good contest.
Well, Rafa started to appeal to people who maybe don't even follow tennis because of what he brings to the court.
I think Mr. Raoul has realised he's on camera. Sporting legend.
Of course, Rafa, a very keen Real Madrid fan.
Yeah, Mikhail Youzhny is a big football fan as well. CSKA Moscow fan as well. They both like their football. A few French fans we can see around as well, some Spaniards. French fans staying on, of course, because Gaël Monfils is in action following this quarter-final. Gaël Monfils up against Viktor Troitsky.
Winner number 14 off the forehand. This shot has been spectacular this evening.
Hasn't erred too many times on the forehand side, Nadal, through this contest. As we've been pointing out, he's been striking that shot extremely well.
Super point.
Well, that shot right there, Barry, when you're moving forward that aggressively, to be able to hit the ball so delicately and still keep it below the net, the kind of feel required to hit it is incredible. What a point from Nadal. Such good presence of mind, clarity of thought, all-encompassing. Great stuff.
Good glance from Rafa to his camp. I don't think he did too much wrong there. I mean, that was a great return. Probably such high standards, he probably feel he should have hit a winner off that. Okay, here's a bit of a test now for Rafa. He's lost a couple of points, he's missed a couple of forehands wide. Will he still back himself to keep being aggressive on that shot? The first time he's almost been forced to blink. I know he saved a break point in the last game that didn't really do too much wrong to put himself in that position. Well, I think there's a classical case of what Mark Woodford was talking about. Bit of pressure on Rafa, just doesn't do enough early on in the rally. You start the rally tentatively, it's amazing that you finish it the same way.
Nothing wrong with that. Barry Can nodding beside me. Nadal executed that
Nadal leads
extremely well to extend his lead in set number 2.
But 1 point can be a big difference, because all of a sudden Rafa's then serving a game point again and he starts to relax. But would Rafa have played with that much freedom if it was break point, having lost 3 points in a row?
I love your point, Barry. I think you're spot on there. It's a completely different mindset when you step up to the line, isn't it? When you're serving at game point versus facing break point.
You know, as the great Andre Agassi always said, it's about assessing what you need to do during a match. You know, there's no set formula. Sometimes you have to change your game plan to recognize what your opponent is going through at the other end of the court.
Absolutely spot on.
Now, he always made a big point, Agassi, didn't he, of beating what's on the other side of the net, not getting away from that. That's all you have to do.
One thing I will say is that sometimes when you are courtside, you're so involved in the match that sometimes your awareness is not what it is. I know when I watch a match from the side of the court, if I'm watching from the comments box, you pick up patterns of play, you pick up things so much easier than what you do sometimes when you're playing, and you're so focused on the match and staying within yourself. Obviously, the great players, as you mentioned, like Agassi, they are able to fine-tune their game in the middle of a match.
Love 40.
Yeah, because now you look at it, 3-1, love 40. Okay, it's now going to be a comfortable second set, but if he won that point, it could have been different.
I say it time and again, but it's the key moments, and ultimately that's why Rafa has done what he's done.
I think it was something like Djokovic last year won 59% of his points, and he was an outstanding player. So it wasn't winning that many points than his opponent.
Rafa has this match exactly where he wants it now. It has been hard fought, and as we've pointed out, it's been a point here or there. He just so often wins the points that really matter, and he has a set and 4-1 lead now.
Well, I've watched a lot of Rafa's matches since Wimbledon on the hard courts, and for me, this is as good as he's played.
Highlight some of the really standout aspects. I mean, we've called all of his matches so far this week. I mean, he's playing well now, no doubt about that, but in particular things, 1 or 2 particular aspects that you find outstandingly good here that you're really, really impressed with.
His eyes. I think he's got his sparkle back, guy. You know, I saw a lot of him at the end of last year, and he looked jaded. You know, he talked of a man who been here for a long time and been playing a lot of tennis, but so it's not just the eyes, but I think from that he's moving great. He's fitting his forehand wonderfully well. He's looking to be more aggressive. He's taking his chances. Everything's clicking into place.
Played pretty well, has to be said, Mikhail Youzhny. He has not much to show for it. Set and 4-1 down. Just coming up against an opponent in wonderful touch. Nadal to serve here at 4-1 in the second set.
Love 15.
For Nadal to hit 27 winners on this type of court, that's a very good number for him. Only one of those winners have been an ace. Youzhny, on the other hand, 8.
Yeah, more quality from Nadal. Really is putting together a fine run of results here. 16 of the last 21 points.
Remind me, who was it who won 19 points in a row the other day? God, I caught you on a hop there. Was it Troitsky? Incredible, 19 points in a row.
Forgive me the pause, Barry. Watched a lot of tennis this week. I think maybe Viktor Troitsky
15 for him
on that front, but I'm not 100%.
It's a bit of a lob wedge, that shot. A little bit of green to play with. He's got to get it up and down.
The golfing analogy is a very good one indeed.
And they've got the tournament here. Is it next month? Part of the Middle East swing.
Mikhail Youzhny is trying to go on the right near sideline. Ball was called in.
Challenge from Youzhny to this first serve from Nadal that was called good. That's a good decision to challenge. That's what the technology's there for.
Net second serve.
That shot was very out of keeping with a lot of what we've seen from Rafa.
Well, I thought his reaction after the first point was a little strange because he did everything right. He held his ground, just missed it. And it was almost like, I shouldn't have made that error. And he's just having a little bit of a dip here.
He's had that one previous break point chance. Remember, he's 2 breaks down in this second set. Desperately needs to take one of these. It is a first break of the match for Youzhny. It keeps his hopes alive. He really needed to strike back there, and he has done. Credit the Russian, who narrows the gap in this second set to 4-2.
Yeah, he found that wonderful backhand down the line to get the breaker serve.
Love 15.
There was one word that sort of could describe certain players. The one word for Rafa would be relentless, wouldn't it?
It's a pretty good one.
What would be the one word that you describe yourself, Robbie? All the players on the tour would describe you. Yeah. What about Mark? Ask Mark.
Yeah, I think
simply too
I
good.
would be describe myself as Nuggery Mock. The boys upstairs would like to know, how do you think the players on tour would best describe you when you were playing?
Well, hopefully they describe me as competitive, as I wasn't going to give any breaks to anyone. I didn't expect any myself, so you know, well, hopefully a fighter. I don't know. Was it Jason? Barry? Did I play you guys?
He's raising his level here.
40-15.
It's not quite past children's hour yet. I'd use a different set of words to describe Mark Woodford. I'll tell you one thing for sure, that the guy cost me a lot of money.
I actually have a wing on my house that's called the Robbie Koenig wing.
Game Youzhny.
Usually reduces the deficit. He's giving Rafa some things to think about here now. Back from 4-1 down to 4-3. It's got more of a feel, a competitive feel about it this second set now.
It's the least he deserves, really, Guy, because of what he's contributing in the match. In the first set, was it 6-4 on the scoreline, 50 minutes, but couldn't really fold what Youzhny brought to the court. Certain times when you're playing the best, you have to accept that they're just a level better, and that really has been the case. But Youzhny stuck to his task. That's where I've been really impressed with him. I mean, if he can keep this form going through the first part of the year, he's going to climb the rankings.
Next, he played a full season in 2011. It wasn't a bad season. I think 4 semi-finals, got into the third, fourth rounds of big tournaments a number of times, but just not what he'd been used to in the past, where he was winning 2, 3 ATP Tour singles titles a year, those Grand Slam semi-finals. Did lead 4-1, Nadal, in this second set. Much more narrow advantage now.
Love 15. Rafael Nadal is challenging the call on the left far sideline. Ball scored out.
Challenge here. It is coming, I can assure you. Taking a little bit longer than normal. 7 millimeters out, that one.
Court statement. Rafael Nadal has 2 challenges remaining.
That's a good point from Rafa. Love 15, having lost the 2 previous games. Didn't doubt himself with that forehand. So she only made 8 unforced errors on the forehand, so he's been tight and also productive.
So focused again from Nadal.
15.
I wanted to ask you, Barry, and Robbie's listening courtside as well. I want to get his views on this. It's actually a question on the ATP World Tour website today. I think it's one of their best poll questions. It simply asks, who would you choose to play for your life in a final? Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, or Roger Federer? We've seen Federer already in quarterfinal action. A few moments, think about that one.
Well, currently,
14,
right now,
yeah, that's what it is today.
Have to be Djokovic. When you've won 3 out of 4 slams last year, and you've won as many, when you've won as many big matches as he did last year and rose to the occasion, yeah.
I'm surprised. A little surprised. What do you think, Robbie?
Yeah, I tell you what, I wouldn't mind picking Rafa on a clay court over 5 sets. Guy's got a pretty good record over the course of his career on that particular surface.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of the question, Robbie.
Well,
he's just breaking it down.
Yeah, let's get specific here, Barry.
Well, if we go through the different surfaces on grass, I'm having Roger.
Well, I think we've got to chase up the boys on the ATP tour. We are analysts after all, aren't we? So let's get down and
indoors. I'm having Roger as well.
No doubt. Couldn't agree with you more. But I like your call on Djokovic on a hard court. Definitely. Novak's my pick at the moment. But I might just dig out Jimmy Connors for one last hurrah. Boy, oh boy, did I used to love watching Jimbo play.
He would be the option, Robbie, the other option on this. Nadal a game away here, meanwhile. So good, isn't it? Just had a brief spell, usually, where he lets Nadal go out to that forehand. Just a couple of games, really. Other than that, he's played so well.
15.
Well, Guy, this evening we talked a lot about the Rafa forehand, but he has generated a lot of pace off that backhand. He's only hit 7 winners off the backhand, but I don't think those numbers really tell the whole story for the Spaniard.
It's like we always say, you've got to break down those numbers even a fair bit further. It's not just as simple as winners and unforced errors. If you're with me on that, where would you break it down a little bit further? I mean, we talked about forced errors, forcing the opponent where the opponent's getting something on it, nothing meaningful. I mean, there are other aspects as well there, because it isn't as simple as just purely the number of winners, the number of unforced errors hit and committed.
I like forced errors.
Youzhny.
He's covered himself in a lot of glory here tonight, regardless of what happens. The crowd have enjoyed his effort. Can he keep this going? Nadal to serve for it shortly at 5-4 second set.
One last chance for Youzhny. Whenever a top player, great champion, is serving for the match, you have to win the first point.
No, we talked about it. We talked about the record, the fact that usually when he'd beaten Nadal, 4 times he has, he'd always won the first set. We talked about Nadal's frankly ridiculous record when he wins the first set as well. That's what he's had to come up against, and he doesn't break now, of course. Another defeat to the Spaniard.
Time.
Crunch time here at the Khalifa International Tennis and Squash Complex in Doha. Wonderful event this, the Qatar ExxonMobil Open. 20th anniversary of the event, and some superb tennis we've had here on quarterfinals day so far. Still one more match to come. But we've reached crunch time in this 3rd quarterfinal. The crowd inside here respond as the top seed prepares to try and serve this one out in straight sets.
Fault.
Well, it was almost a case that Youzhny was waiting for Rafa to feed him that backhand to be able to take control in the point. It was that cross-court enabled him to make his move forward.
Take please. Net for serve.
nice hit.
A few nerves.
I'd love to have another look at that, the contact in slow motion.
Yeah, it might just have been a case, Guy, that in his mind was, I need to be aggressive, and then at the last split second, uh-oh, I don't want to be.
Here it is again.
His weight was leaning backwards.
That's a bit of a gift from Youzhny. Rafa breaks down. So unexpected, this.
15-14.
Well, that's as tentative as he's hit a forehand all evening from Nadal. Again, didn't really want to go for that one down the line.
Worrying moments these for Nadal and his many supporters. Breakback point, 2 of them for Youzhny.
Well, that serve to the forehands worked him well this evening. Will he go there again on the second break point?
Just want to get back to Barry's point on the previous rally. The forehand up the line for me is always a barometer as to how well Rafa is playing. When he's hitting that shot well, you're in trouble. We know he's always got the cross-court forehand. Worked well there.
One gone, 1 to go.
Well, he just recognises the situations. Brilliant serve. He wasn't looking to serve and volley, but he saw how good the serve was and that Youzhny was in trouble.
He just plays the big points so well. That's a big reason why he is one of the best of all time. It's a fantastic point from the Russian. He's got another chance to break back as a result. Just gets better. he's just gone long. Real shame that for Youzhny. He is playing Nadal so tough in this game. He's having his chances.
Well, it was a nervy rally from both men. You can understand that. And actually, Youzhny was looking to hit the winner off that shot. It was probably the most difficult shot in the rally to try and win the point with.
Nadal now 2 points away from the win. Found that line once again.
That might just be the first time he's hit a clean winner off the return. What a moment as well to do it. That will make Nadal think if he has another look at a second serve.
Where does he go here, Barry, on the break point?
Well, it also might mean he might take a bit of pace off the first serve to get it in.
It was break point there, of course. Fourth break point of the game. Saved again. Back to deuce.
Well, he did take a bit of pace off, and unfortunately Youzhny was in charitable mood.
Top seed once again 2 points from the win here at 5-4, trying to serve this out in this second set. Now, for the first time, Rafa has a match point.
Advantage Nadal.
That'll do it. Boys pumped about it. Wonderful match. Hour and 48 minutes. Mikhail Youzhny contributed a great deal to it. He played pretty well, got to say that. But his opponent just played even better. Another important victory for Rafael Nadal here, the top seed, as he bids, of course, to win this Qatar ExxonMobil title for the first time in his career. He's back in the semi-finals. The top seed, a 6-4 and 6-4 winner.
Well, I really enjoyed that match. Youzhny played his part in it, and I think if he continued that type of form for the next 3 or 4 months, we could see the Russian rise up the rankings. As for Rafa, well, he was superb for a set and a half, lost a little bit of concentration, then got a little bit nervous, but crucially for the world #2, he came through that last game having to save a few break points. He's clicking into gears nicely ahead of the semi-finals tomorrow.
Absolutely. Rafa victorious here. Match of the tournament so far, Barry?
Yeah, match of the tournament, also the best quality that we've seen this week from both men. And obviously there's been some good performances from Roger Federer, but I think the energy that both players brought to the court, and especially early on, they had some long, grueling rallies, but high-quality rallies.
Fans delighted, as always. Robbie Koenig is down on court, waiting to speak to the winner. In this case, of course, the top seed, Rafael Nadal. It'll be very interesting to hear from the Spaniard highly impressive win against an opponent who played really well. Let's say that again. Got to give credit to Mikhail Youzhny. Real joy to watch that one. Here is Rafa with Robbie Koenig.
Rafa, I thought it was an excellent match tonight. How do you assess your performance?
I think I played really well. No? And just the end of the match was a little bit nervous. It's normal the first week of the season, but for the rest of the match, I'm very, very happy. I am feeling a little bit better every day, so just enjoying the tournament, enjoying Qatar, and now semi-final, so it's fantastic now.
And for me, watching you on the side of the court, I thought your footwork looked fantastic, especially around the ball. Are you feeling good? Is the body, the legs feeling pretty good?
Yeah, I think I was moving fast, trying to go to the net a lot of times. So that's what I really need to keep doing if I want to compete against the really top players. Now, Michael is a fantastic player, really dangerous with very flat shots. So it was a really tough one, but I think I did well when I changed it with the slice too. So I am very happy.
Nice variety. And tomorrow you got some tough matches, either Victor Troitsky or Germain Fils. What do you make of both those guys?
Well, both players are really difficult. No, Gael is, one of the fastest players on the tour with fantastic serve. He can play aggressive, he can defend. So it's going to be a really tough one. And if it's Victor, he has a big serve, big backhand, and he's improving year by year. No? So anyway will be a really difficult one. But I will be here, trying my best.
You certainly will be here. Ladies and gentlemen, a big thanks to Rafael Nadal.
Seal of approval from his good friend and from his supporters as well. They enjoyed that, and we did too. Really good match. Hour and 48 minutes, 4-4 to Nadal. Barry, what did you think about that one?
Just some great numbers from Rafa, 31 winners, but 16 of those 31 winners were from the forehand, and I thought Rafa hit his forehand as well as he's done really since probably after Wimbledon, during the hardcourt season in America and also in the fall. So he'll take a lot of encouragement with that shot. As he said to Robbie, moved well,